All right, we're here with Jawad Yatim. All right, here we go. The founder, co-owner, president, general manager, and director of corporate partnership sales for the Massachusetts Pirates of the Indoor Football League. Did I get all that right?
Yes, sir. Welcome to arena football, where you got your hands pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a busy journey, since our first season in 2018. But um, we made it work, and we're just continuing to truck along and work hard and try and continue to build the brand of our organization and win another championship. That's certainly the goal here.
So I always like to ask my guests. So give us your superhero origin story. How did you get from a high school kid all the way to an owner and involved in the indoor football league?
Oh yeah, so I mean, my story isn't too crazy. So right before I started the team, I was playing arena football. I played in the IFL for a season, and then I played in China actually. When some of the AFL owners had put on a league out there, and then yeah, from there, and I'm not the only owner, by the way. It's me and my father, so it's 50-50, and there's no team that at the time there wasn't a team in New England. There still is no other teams in New England. We pretty much, own the region here. We're from the city that we play in. We got some good connections there. And then we just figured why not give it a shot. Ended up getting a pretty nice TV deal out here. Went down, we were initially in the NAL, with teams like Jacksonville, Orlando, Carolina, some of those teams. And, I sent in an application, went down to Jacksonville, got vetted out by the league, and, they approved us as ownership. And yeah, it was all pretty crazy from there. So we announced November 15th, and we ended up playing our first game April 7th. So it was a quick turnaround, but, sometimes when you put yourselves in those tough situations, you learn to deal with, you learn to work under pressure. You learn to, work with, tight deadlines and you just really, embrace the chaos and control it and, move forward. But, we've been great so far, won a championship already. 11-win seasons out of 4 years. We're going on our, we'll win our 50th game this season. We've done some good things on the business end, and yeah, we're just continuing to grow.
So tell fans about the Indoor Football League, kind of its origins to where it is in now. I mean, you have people that watch our program or fans that are involved and interested in the XFL. They know the XFL, they know the USFL, they kind of know the CFL, but now they kind of know fan control football, and now, Indoor Football League. That's kind of been around for a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah, so the league is actually going into its 15th year, which is outside of the NFL, I'd say the longest running, consistently the longest running professional football organization in the United States. So, obviously you have Canada, but that's up there across the border. But yeah, I mean, it's made up of some really, solid, solid ownership groups. Some solid markets, whether it's Phoenix, Arizona, Vegas had joined us, Tulsa came on this year, the Bay Area, Frisco down in Texas, you got us, Duke City, Green Bay has been around for a while. Obviously the Barnstormers, everybody knows about Kurt Warner. Sioux Falls, they're like the Patriots of this league, where they've just been so consistent, for a long time. And yeah, Duke City down in New Mexico, San Diego. You got some, I'm probably forgetting a couple, but you got some good organizations in the league, good ownership groups. Obviously the Arena Football League had folded back in 2019, I believe. And we've just really focused on, not necessarily being them or taking their spot, but holding, the trophy for the top arena football organization, or league in the country. So, we certainly own that. And we are the highest level of arena football in the country, no doubt about it. And that's, what we strive to be. And I know the league is working hard, and we're just continuing to grow and make some cool developments here.
So what's something that football fans might not know about the indoor football league? As far as, I mean, clearly it's inside, it's kind of in the, you put a field on a hockey rink type. Those are typically the stadiums, but like what's the rules like, or what's something that would jump out for fans to get excited about it?
So yeah, I mean, probably the first thing you'll notice obviously is the field dimensions. So goal line to goal line is 50 yards, and then you got about 8-yard end zones. Depending on your floor plan, some end zones are different sizes than others, but there's a minimum requirement for an end zone size in our league. But you also notice you got two receivers going in high motion. They're attacking the line of scrimmage, already, with a running head start, so obviously that puts a little pressure on the secondary there. But it's similar to Canada. They do that in Canada as well. You got 3 down linemen on each side. You got a quarterback and a running back, and you got 2 linebackers. Well, 2 linebackers lining up. You got a Mac, and then you got one, linebacker who is essentially a safety that plays in the box, and he can go wherever he wants, as opposed to the NAL, which you start with 2 linebackers in the box. Both of them can't drop deeper than 6 yards. In the IFL, that one jack linebacker, so to speak, or however you may call it, he can go wherever he wants on the field. And that's really the difference between the 2 games. That's why if you see one game, you see a running back that's 300 pounds, and he's essentially a 4th lineman. That's because they don't really run the ball in that league. They got you got more guys in the box. It takes away the run. So they really focus on the pass in those leagues. But now you got one less guy in the box, it really opens up the run game. And, those are the small differences between the 2 leagues, but it actually makes a big difference. In our league, within a minute of each half, you can kick a deuce. So, you say you score a touchdown, it's under a minute in the game or in each half. And, the kicker on the kickoff can actually kick it through the uprights and score 2 points for your ball club, obviously. So that's a cool little wrinkle that they added in this year. But yeah, I mean, outside of that, it's just football. I mean, it's 4 downs for a first down, 6 points for a touchdown, 15-minute quarters. You got running clocks. Up inside, a minute of each half, and I mean, it's really just football at that point. And that's really it. So, I mean, the major differences you'll see are the high motion, I mean, and outside of the number of players on the field and the size of the field, it's just football, man. Wow. That's really it.
And then you said, so you got in with the Massachusetts Pirates. You've had some name players on your franchise. Didn't you have like Martavis Bryant on there, or was it you guys?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah, we've had a lot of guys come through here. Actually, if you're an XFL fan, I mean, the kid who scored the first points in 2020 was from our squad. He played for us in 2019. We had probably 40% of our roster, get drafted that year. I think a little more than that was in the draft pool. I mean, even this year, you're going to see a lot of our guys getting drafted this year. I can already tell you that. But I've signed Martavis Bryant before, Dexter McCluster. Garrett Harley hit the game-winning kick in the championship for us. He obviously holds, Super Bowl records. And then we've had Trey Jackson, Terrence Williams from the Cowboys. Mm-hmm. I mean, Sam Montgomery, who was an All-American at LSU, was a 3rd-round pick. Marty Gilliard, who obviously had a great career at Cincinnati, was a 4th-round draft pick. I mean, Toby Johnson, who actually who played for the Guardians, actually was all USFL this past year. He was one of our draft picks back then. I mean, yeah, we've had a lot of ball players, a lot of good players come through here. And, it certainly coincides with our record and what we've been able to accomplish. You don't do those things without the players. The players are the ones that win the ball games, especially in this league where, schematically you can only do so much, so there is a larger emphasis on the players as opposed to the outdoor game. But in either game you play, the players are the ones that are winning the ball games for. Obviously coaching comes into play, of course, but without good players, you're not really doing much. So, yeah, we've had some good ball players, but honestly, stay on the lookout for this upcoming draft. You're going to see a good amount of Pirates in there.
So tell us about the XFL, IFL partnership and how that all came about.
Yeah, so, I'd say I spoke to Todd about, a month ago, and he kind of filled me in on it. And, I'd say Todd really had obviously the largest influence from an IFL standpoint in terms of the partnership. I don't know too much about the back end of the deal, but he certainly, I believe, was at the forefront of the deal. And I'm sure he got a little bit of help from maybe some of the owners in the league. But, yeah, I really didn't know too much about it until about a month, before it happened. And then, they made the announcement. So, but Todd, Todd's been doing a great job for us. He really works hard, just in terms of, the league branding and partnerships for the league, and I know he's working on a streaming deal as well right now. So, and then actually this year too will be the first year that, our gambling odds are really distributed across North America, and carried by a lot of the major, betting platforms in North America. So, that'll be a nice development for the league. But yeah, Todd's really just been working hard and just trying to grow the league as we all are trying to grow our own organizations. So yeah, I'd say Todd was certainly at the forefront of it, no doubt.
So how is this going to work out? Because your season is from when to March till July, August?
Yep. So March, our first game is March 26th, from a Pirates standpoint. And then the last regular season game is July 15th. And then the championship game, I believe, is going to be August 5th in Las Vegas. So from a scheduling standpoint, at least if the IFL, if the XFL schedule is the same as it was in 2020, then, we'll be able to get some guys back, prior to the end of the season. So what we're doing now from a transactional standpoint, we'll be signing guys, guys that are in the pool or just, and actually we have the power now to submit people into the pool. So, the main thing is that they have to be on your active roster. But if someone's on your active roster and you feel like they deserve, to be in the draft, and you could, simply just submit their name. You'll fill out a form and send it to Todd, and he'll take care of it from there. So, but yeah, what we'll simply do is say I sign somebody, they get drafted, we'll place them on the exempt list, so we still own their IFL rights, but they don't count against your 25-man roster, and then from that point, once the season's over, or if they get released at any point, or they become, available, you can just activate them off the exempt list and they slide right back in and join your team again. So, or if the season concludes and they want to keep playing, you can just activate them and they'll be ready to go. So, the scheduling from an XFL standpoint makes more sense than the USFL. The USFL, it is more, parallel to the time that we play. So it doesn't really give guys an opportunity to go from there to here. But, not every player is looking to do that, but the ones, that do, we certainly have a spot for them. And I believe, we're actually going to have a draft within the IFL for XFL players that want to play in our league, towards the end of their season, so that we can distribute some of their free agents kind of evenly and whatnot. So that'll be, pretty cool, because we don't have a draft ourselves, everything is just free agency.
Okay.
And everything is really all contracts are 1-year deals. So it's, once that season ends, you got literally clean slate. You got to start from zero. So it'll be cool to have a draft. I think something I've always wanted to participate in, within this role. So yeah, it'll be a nice experience.
So what happens if somebody, let's say, your starting quarterback of the Pirates is just tearing it up during the season, because you guys start in March and the XFL is right after the Super Bowl. So you're right in the middle of the season and the XFL is like, hey, that guy from the Pirates is looking pretty good. We want him. How would that work? If they saw a player, they were like, he's tearing it up in the IFL, let's bring him up to the XFL. Could they just pull him and then the next week that guy is in the and the XFL, or is it more of he was drafted? It's only the guys at the beginning of the season.
Well, I know come March, I believe it's March 3rd, all IFL quarterbacks, I guess, are off limits to them.
Okay.
What I need clarification, well, since it's such a new partnership, what I need clarification is, you know, and one thing, if all right, my starting quarterback, he's going out there, he's doing well. He has an opportunity to go to the XFL. You know, I'm going to let him go. I want him to go. You know, I wouldn't want to, you know, keep him back from that opportunity. So, you know, I certainly would want him to go. So I would check in with the league and just make sure it's okay. I'm sure, you know, it wouldn't be an issue. But yeah, I would let him go personally. You know, I just, you know, that's what we're here for, you know, is for guys to elevate and, you know, take advantage of larger opportunities, whether it be more money or just more television exposure and just, you know, a better opportunity to get to the NFL. So I would let him go. But I believe as of the first week of March, you know, IFL quarterbacks are off limits.
But running backs, wide receivers, all those other positions could move up to the XFL if for whatever reason they wanted them.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So any other position works. But you know, everybody knows how important your quarterback, you know, your quarterbacks are. So they kind of wanted to protect the IFL from that standpoint. But you know, I'm sure it's up to the teams at the end of the day. And I would let my guy go. You know, and the way we kind of do things here, we have 2 starting quarterbacks. You know, we always make sure to have 2 starting caliber quarterbacks on our roster. You know, obviously for injury purposes or whatnot, guys getting picked up. But so we would be just as confident in the guy, you know, behind our starter, and we would be all right, you know.
So how did you know, first you have kind of, you know, fan controlled football, and then you have the USFL and now the XFL. You have all these other entities competing for players. So how has that kind of changed the dynamic for you guys, especially as an owner?
I mean, it's always been just so competitive. It's and to a point, it's just so chaotic. You know, especially our first year. I know in 2018, you know, you would sign somebody, and you know they could still sign with the IFL, they could still sign with the AFL. You know, they could go up to Canada. You know, obviously the NFL. The AAF didn't really come into play until 2019, but yeah, it's just you sign a guy, but you don't really know if he's going to show up or if he's going to sign somewhere else. So, I mean, I've had numerous guys where I've signed and I'm excited about, and I'm thinking they're on the roster, and then, you know, the next thing you know, they get picked up by such and such. They sign to such and such. They get drafted to this league. And yeah, you know, as long as they're moving up, it's not a problem. But you know, if they're moving in a parallel direction, then yeah, it's pretty annoying. But I mean, there's not much you can do. I mean, you know, so from an IFL standpoint, if a player signs with your organization and he signs with another arena team in a different league, then he's suspended from our season for the rest of the year. So, but not vice versa. If he were to sign with the NAL, we could still sign him and he would be all right. But he just can't leave to go to the NAL. So yeah, I mean, it's certainly not like the NFL where, you know, you sign a guy, you draft a guy and he's showing up, you know, unless he retires or something happens.
So what does the future look like for the IFL in the next 5 years look like? Now you have this partnership with the XFL going on, where, you know, now I mean, XFL fans would be super excited to watch an IFL draft of XFL players. Like where's the league going within the next 5 years?
You know, I would say that, you know, it's just going to continue to grow from an organizational standpoint. You know, I believe the league is just going to continue to add strong ownership groups. You know, I would expect, you know, a nice streaming deal. I would expect, you know, the league's exposure to grow. And just, you know, I don't think it's going to be so much of a niche product anymore. You know, I think it'll be a little more mainstream. You know, you won't have people asking as much, you know, where can I watch it? You know, I think it's going to be more known where you can watch our games, where you can follow us. You know, I just think the league is just going to continue to grow, you know, and Yeah, I'm excited. You know, there's a lot of good things going on within the league, and you know, I'm really excited for the sports gambling aspect this upcoming season, just because it's obviously such a large, you know, aspect to, you know, the sports nowadays. You know, when you just turn on your TV, you'll see commercial after commercial after commercial, you know, about it, and you know, it's such a big part of the sports world now, and just, you know, to have our league adding that aspect. Of the entertainment, you know, industry, so to speak, is awesome. You know, I think it's going to really help grow, you know, the league and the organizations. But yeah, I mean, I would expect exponential growth, you know, progressive pattern of growth, and yeah, so it should be in a good place.
Now you couldn't. Are you saying like so before you couldn't like do DraftKings or FanDuel with indoor football league, but now you might be able to do that in this season?
Yeah, yeah. They've so our lines have been out there like scarcely, like it might be out there for, you know, I believe the championship was really the first game that you could really wager on. But I had, you know, our lines had been out there, you know, previously, you know, between some of these smaller, you know, platforms here and there. But, you know, the league partnered up with US Integrity, which is really helping facilitate, you know, the process of having our lines distributed across the country. So yeah, I mean, last season, if you went on DraftKings or FanDuel or, you know, Caesar Sportsbook or BetMGM or whatever, you wouldn't see, you know, any IFL lines or anything like that. So, you know, just seeing our names on those platforms itself is good marketing, you know, and then someone is 80% more likely to watch the game if they place a wager on it. So, you know, just from a demand standpoint, it's certainly going to help. On top of the other things we're doing as a league. But that's certainly, I think, the biggest development we've had as a league so far this offseason.
Mm. And then my final question is, of course, and you kind of brought it up, fans will ask, how can I watch the IFL? How can I support the league? And how do the teams engage with the fans?
Absolutely. So all our games are live streamed on YouTube. So honestly, if you just go to YouTube, you can literally watch all the games right there. Um, you know, there's a, you know, it has a history of all our games too. So if you wanted to go back and watch some old games here and there, you could certainly do that. And then almost every team has a like a regional, you know, sports network partner. So for us, we're partnered with Nesson. You know, they're the official broadcast home of the Boston Red Sox, Boston Bruins. So if you wanted to catch us on television as well, you can catch us on Nesson out here in New England. But every team, or mostly every team, has their own deals. So, you know, from a visibility standpoint, you know, either YouTube or your local regional sports network. And then, yeah, you know, you could always go to goifl.com for more information and just, you know, to keep up to date on the teams and everything like that. And then all our social media handles. So yeah, you know, it's like I said, we're continuing to grow. We're in a good spot, and we're looking forward to you know, the upcoming season.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. I've officially announced that my team is now the Massachusetts Pirates. I'm encouraging all the XFL fans to kind of pick their IFL team. So I appreciate you coming on the show, and thanks so much.
No, I
We'll be
appreciate
following.
you. Yes, sir. Thank you very much. I appreciate you for having me, and make sure to catch, you know, a bunch of Pirates in the XFL this upcoming season. That's what we're looking forward to. So, you know, we can't wait. And thank you again for having me. I certainly appreciate it.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right. Take care, man.